To The Manor Reborn again, the podcast for all your borough news, reviews, and more. I'm Ben Bruce, and Lord no, I won't be saying the dreaded T word, but I am here alongside me today. I've got two brilliant guests. First up, he's a man who needs no introducing, but here we go anyway. A man who joined the club way back in the dark days of what was our most recent reformation, until the latest one. And he's scheduled to return, of course, in 15 years' time when FC Borough of Nuneaton make their Midland League debut. He's more than just a rascal. He's a player, coach, and all-round Borough legend. It's Justin Marsden.
Hello.
How you doing, Justin?
Yeah, not bad, thanks, mate. You?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on the pod and being the first player to come on the podcast, because obviously no one else knows what's going to go on this thing. So it's a little bit brave to be the one who dips their toe in first. So I appreciate that massively. Thank you so much. Hopefully we won't scare everyone else off, because if I do that, then this is going to be very short-lived.
Yeah, hopefully it's one to remember. But no, more than happy to do it, and thanks for the invite. So
no worries. Thank you. And also joining me today, over on my left, is a man who in our group of friends we know as the nicest man in the world, trademark. Although after the pelters he gave me during the Euros, I personally am not so sure anymore. He's been an advocate for supporter representation at the club since before it was cool, at which point I did hear him say much preferred their earlier stuff. And he is now rightly ensconced as the chairman of the Supporters Cooperative, or the committee. He'll correct me if I forget which. He's the man who invented body cams, Mr. Mark Axon. How are you doing, Mark?
I'm very, very well, Ben. Thank you very much for that lovely introduction. Good to see you, Justin, too.
Hello, mate. You okay?
I'm all right, thank you. Yeah, not bad at all.
Good.
So, to introduce the listeners, the viewers, to what we intend to do on To The Manor Reborn again, the idea is that we're going to have a look at what's happened in the month that's preceded and talk about a little bit about what's to come. The main cut and thrust is going to be talking about what's happened on the pitch. But obviously, we've got Mark with us today as well, and that's going to give people a little bit of insight into how the club's run. But I want to start, of course, with Justin. What was it like stepping back into the club for the first time after all these years, and obviously into a very different club compared to the last time?
Yeah, I think it's well. First of all, I just want to say like buzzing to be back, and I think when I got the call off Axon, saying that he wanted me to come in and help, it was a no-brainer for me, to be honest. I'd always look back at the club with fond memories, had really good times there. And obviously the first time I knew them years ago, 15 years ago, whatever it was now. So it was, as soon as I got the call, I was buzzing, to be honest. I've always wanted to come back. I've kept an eye on it, watched a few of the games, play at final a few years ago, maybe last year, when they played. I think it was Rushall? Yeah, watched that final, and it was great to be back, and it felt just like being back at home. This time's probably a little bit different because everything that's gone on, it's kind of reminded me of when I first came to the club, but on a different scale. Obviously not having a home ground, which is obviously a little bit different. Obviously, my memories of being at it before it was all about the fans. The fans were brilliant, and the atmosphere around the Nuneaton when we used to play at home was fantastic. So, and in fairness, playing our home games this season, that's brought back memories, but obviously it's not quite the same being not at your home ground, if that makes sense. But
yeah.
However, saying that, everything else about it it's been a dream, to be honest. Been a bit of a hectic 6 or 7 weeks pre-season, brand new squad. First time I think I've ever done that in my whole career, being around a brand new squad from scratch and go from there. So the gelling and getting to know people was challenging, but I think it's been really beneficial for us. I think we've had to do it really quickly, and you can probably see that now over the last 3 or 4 games. We've started to just gel a bit better now, and you're starting to see everyone knowing each other's games a bit better. So,
I mean, that is something I sort of want to talk to you a little bit about, because it has been the way this league is set up. It is sort of front loaded, isn't it? Because obviously they're worried about postponements in the winter and stuff. So we've had like games thick and fast. I can't remember a season ever watching the Borough where we've had this many games at the start of the season. You talk about a brand new squad. How hard has it been to get to know each other to work on things like set piece routines, or just, you know, just getting used to each other's game, because I presume you spend a lot more time with each other on a training pitch working on stuff than you do when, you know, say somebody's on the bench and he's only getting 20 minutes of game time every now and again. You know, you're obviously coming off the bench quite a lot. How hard is it for you personally to bed in with people when you've only spending those 15, 20 minutes a game doing it? It's got to be hard, man.
Yeah, well, it's been a challenge, and if I'm being honest, even throughout pre-season, I think we only had probably three or four sessions off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Playing games every midweek, every Saturday. I think we had 8 or 9 pre-season friendlies, and I think one of the main reasons why was we needed to get people fit, and people needed to understand how to play with each other. So it's the first time in a long time that I've had that many friendlies and no training sessions. And then obviously the season starts and we're playing every Saturday, Monday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday, whatever the away games are. So we've still not had that many sessions in the season. And that's one of the things I'm saying. It's been, you look at the position we're in right now, considering we're a brand new set of lads, we've had to just crack on with it and build that relationships and gelling through the match days.
Yeah.
And we're really close, and it's strange to say it, even though we've not known each other for that long, but we've got quite a close bunch of lads already. And I feel like once the games settle down at the end of September, we can start getting some sessions in, and we can start doing a little bit more shape work and working on stuff. I only think it's going to get better for us. So, and obviously to your question about how do we go about set pieces and stuff, we're basically just going out there, and obviously the experienced lads are leading that, and we're just using the guys' experience to go out there and deliver, and the young lads, we're just passing on information. And in fairness to them, they've took it on board quite well. So yeah, that's how it's been. It's been proper, just hit and go straight away. That's how we're working at Mix. We've not had no time to train at all.
It has been something, Mark, that me and you've spoken about at the games. The Heather game in particular is one that sort of springs to mind, because obviously that was the game where we suffered that home defeat. And I think we both agreed on that night that Heather seemed like a team. Obviously, they've had a team that's been in place for a number of years, and you can see that little bit of perhaps game management, knowing each other's game that they bought on that day. Have you seen, Mark, watching on? Have you seen that starting to creep into what you've been seeing as a fan when watching the Borough games?
Well, absolutely, yeah. You can see how everyone's starting to gel to each other and understanding where people are going to run and where they want the ball played to them, which is really good to see, really. And that's really increased over the last few games. And I think that's what we as fans like to see, isn't it? And getting as much as we can a settled pattern of play, really, and where possible, given holidays and injuries and all of that, as much of a settled team as possible. So it's good to see to get some consistency there. But it's been really, especially the last few weeks, it's been good to see that, and it's great to see how many goals we're scoring. And that's what you want to see, isn't it, as a fan? And we're getting in those clean sheets now as well, especially at home. The other night was the second one, wasn't it, of the season? So that's always the good foundation, isn't it, to build on?
Third clean sheet of the season, I think. Because we had Leicester St Andrews, we've had Cotswold, and then last night would have been the third clean sheet. That was the first clean sheet at home, I believe.
The home one, okay, yeah. I'm not the best on my stats, so bear with me.
I've got my stat hat on today. And Justin, that's a good point as well. There's been people, obviously, you know, I think it's took a little bit of adapting for a few fans to get their head around the fact that we've dropped down a couple of levels. So people's priorities are very different compared to, you know, when you're playing in the Conference North and things like that, where people have still got perhaps an eye on, you know, trying to turn pro and really putting the effort into being there every week. Whereas in this level, people aren't getting paid so much. So, you know, the day job takes a lot more priority. People have got holidays and things like that. We've had a lot of players missing at different times throughout the start of this season. And that obviously impacts performances, surely. I mean, it's been key players at times as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think one thing we need to consider here is that the season has started quite early. I feel like at this level, I think a lot of the lads have not played this step. I know a lot of them have played one up, or obviously 2 or 3 up, or whatever. So, and I know the season normally starts a couple of weeks after that. And I'm not sure if it's because of the pitches and they want to get the games in earlier. So when the Christmas times come, there's not so many postponed or whatever. and it's the first time in my whole career I've had to play 17 or 18 games in 2 months. And I think is when you put it into perspective, like you said, Ben, the level, the standard, the commitment when you're playing in Conference North is you have to be really committed to be able to achieve anything in that standard. And we're in the 6 weeks holidays, and people have got families and people going on holidays. Still early August, end of July, and we're basically starting the season. So it's been a difficult one to chop and change. And like Mark says, we haven't really had a settled squad yet for them reasons. We picked up a few injuries along the way at the same time, maybe having all these games and some of the players having to play a little bit more than others. So it is challenging in that sense, but we kind of look at it now. We're coming to the end of that period now, and if we can be up and around it in the next couple of weeks, end of September, when the games start settling down, we really feel like we'll be in a strong position for the rest of the season. Then, because we'll have full weeks of rest, we'll be able to get people getting proper treatment if they're carrying little knocks and stuff, and we can work on a lot more on the pitch. And then going back to Mark with the patterns and playing stuff, we'll probably be able to have a better identity of what we're trying to do. The Heather was, I totally agree with you in terms of that. And I know a few of the lads from Heather, and I know a few of them have been together for quite a while. And you can kind of see sometimes, you can tell a team's been together and they're working on stuff a lot more. Obviously, they know each player a lot better. They know their strengths, know their weaknesses. Where we've had to adapt quite quickly. And I think we've done brilliant considering all the challenges we've had to face this season with brand new squad. We've only lost 1 game. And if you look at other games we've played, I think we've lost three games, I think. And if you include in pre-season, if I'm correct, and we've won majority of them and kept a lot of clean sheets. So the base is there. And we're only looking forward to the rest of the season once we all can stay together and be a bit more consistent with the selection of the team. So that's what we're looking forward to now, just trying to get through these next couple of weeks and stay in the mix and then really push on after that.
Definitely. And in terms of this league, obviously, Justin, you've played for Rugby Borough, wasn't it? And you managed there as well. And I think one thing that perhaps, especially given the results of this week, that maybe a lot of fans are starting to get their head around is that you can have these mad results that come out of nowhere. And the one that I'm thinking about most, obviously, at the moment is Heather going away to Leicester St Andrews and getting beat 2-1, which, having seen Heather play and having seen Leicester St Andrews play, I don't think that was going on anyone's accumulator, let's be honest. Mark, is it something that you think fans are perhaps now getting their heads around, that you can't just, HMS piss this tin pot league and steamroller everything? There are going to be days when games happen that you just go, what on earth just happened there? How did that result end up? And, the beauty of football comes to the fore once again.
Absolutely. I think I've been really impressed with the standard of most teams we've played, and I've enjoyed watching every game. Most teams trying to get it down and play as much as possible. And yeah, we need to show every team respect, really. And I think it's great to have a bit of a laugh and a joke, which some people might perceive as arrogance from fans, but I don't think it is. I think it's just a bit of a laugh and a joke, isn't it? And actually, as possible. But I'm really enjoying the standard of football. To be fair, it's after supporting only really watching Nuneaton, and I've never seen Nuneaton at this level before. I haven't watched many games at this level before, but I'm really enjoying the standard. To be fair, so yeah, it's an enjoyable afternoon. So. Some new grounds as well, new places.
Lots of new grounds. Justin, you've obviously played. It was the level above, wasn't it? Where you were at Rugby.
Yeah.
So I mean, you've got a little bit more of an understanding of this league. Do you find yourself passing on information, or giving a bit of advice to the youngsters coming up through, who are obviously in the youth team last year, people like Josh Whitehouse, or people who come from like Tamworth, like Harrison Bruce? And you're also talking to people who are perhaps dropping down, like Liam Daly, and obviously Lee Vaughan played in the week, and just saying this is what this is about. Or do you think they can just get on with it and crack on a bit?
Yeah, listen, I learned a lot last year being manager of Rugby Borough of the level, and obviously playing at Rugby Town for the previous 4 or 5 seasons before that in Step 5, I know what it takes. It's a completely different. I struggled to adapt to it when I first played in it, because obviously playing a little bit higher, Step 2, Step 3, or whatever it was, you did tend to get a little bit more time on the ball, and a lot of the teams were a lot more structured in their shape and stuff. When I dropped down, it was I can remember saying to one of my mates, it was like chaos. People were just running from everywhere, pressing you, and you're just not expecting it. So it took a bit of a while to adapt. But I think with the question with the young lads, yes, the information I give them is a lot of what's the right word?
Experience.
Yeah, experience in playing at level, but I'm trying to pass down my knowledge of, especially for Harry as a striker. He gets quite hard on himself because he feels like he's missed a few chances. But I'm like, listen, it's the level, it is what it is. But be consistent in getting in the area and having the chances is the most important thing, because he's got the quality to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
And in the flip side, in terms of Dales and the lads that are coming from the higher levels, again, it is a bit of a shock to the system for them, I think. But I think they have to adapt to the level at the same time at the other spectrum. So the level's the level, and we've got players that are playing at the level. So the expectation has got to be a little bit sometimes from the guys that are coming up, who have been playing with extremely good footballers at their level, if you're talking conference north or south, to this level, four levels different. So it's a weird mix for me, because I'm having the young lads that I'm trying to say they can really make a name for themselves and really be important as part of the squad, and then to the guys that are coming down who have not played at it, to just try and get them that it is what it is at this level. You're going to get probably more mistakes. There's probably going to be a lot more work rate, and people are not going to have the time you think. So have a little bit more patience in that side. So, but for me, I enjoy it because I've been lucky enough to do both. So I'm kind of sit myself in the middle there, and I can bounce off Dales and give him advice, but take what his advice saying to the young lads, and telling the young lads to try and get to Dale's level of expectation of what's required in a game. So we've got a really good mix in the squad, and I think that's why we'll do special things this year. I really do believe that.
Yeah, I do think in terms of squad building, it felt like, for the first time in a long time as well down the Borough, it felt like it was a plan that was, it felt like an idea behind what was being put together with the team, bringing in the experienced lads, but also peppering it with this young talent, local talent as well. People like Harry Jackson coming into the team, kids who have been at the academy last year, like Alfie Burter, Josh Whitehouse, and so forth. It felt like there was a real genuine attempt to create an identity. And obviously having Acco and yourself and Daly as well, who've been at the club in the past, was that something, again, that when Acco and Dodgy were talking to you, that they were saying, yeah, one of the reasons we want to bring you back, Justin, is because you've got that experience of the Borough and you know what it's all about? Or did that come up in conversation?
Yeah, well, yeah. Obviously, me and Acco played in the playoff games, didn't we? Together, we were quite successful at that period of time. So I think for us, we know what it's going to take to be able to do that again. And we're not talking just one level to try and do exactly the same and have that momentum and doing it and then going again. So for us, yeah, I think it was an important, when he rang me, and one of the things he did say to me is, we've been through it, we can pass this on to the team. And the selection of players that they've brought in has been a great mix of lads around the level, 5, 6, young lads coming through, which I think is really important, because when we go back to them 15 years ago, we had Jimmy Armstrong, we had Gazdeen, we had Eddie Nizovic, we had a lot of young local lads that came through and were a big part of that success. So, and then obviously the experience of myself, Dales, we got a few, Lyso, Corey, Aaron Williams, all experienced players around this level as well. So the mix is I think, perfect for what we need to do. And just going back 15 years ago, it was exactly the same then. We had Derek Brown, we had Moro at the back. Obviously, Akko was a really experienced goalkeeper. Jez Murphy was there at the time.
Yeah.
So we've kind of got this similar mix, if that makes sense, to how it was then. So hopefully we can be just as successful, if not more. So if we can be anything like that and have that same connection with the fans like we did then, I think it will be really special, like I said before.
Yeah. And connection with the fans is something I wanted to talk to you about, Mark, because obviously you're involved with the cooperative, and one of the key things about this year, one of the key things that feels different to any other time that I've been a Borough fan, is that it does feel, for once, the fans, not only have they got the connection back with the players and the management, but also they've got their hand on the wheel when it comes to how the club's being steered and how it's being driven. How has that been for you in that first couple of months? Obviously, you know, your experience of what's been going on with the club goes back years. And obviously, come February, it was all hands on deck.
Yeah.
We're talking about since the ball started being kicked in July, when the friendly started and everything like that. What's been going on for you and the cooperative, and what's been your relationship with the board of the club, and how's that all come together in that first month?
Leading up to the start of the pre-season, has been incredibly busy for a dedicated band of Borough fans. All of us are Borough fans, dedicating our time, snatching an hour before work, after work, when we're on breaks from college or whatever, and things like that. All just trying to work to get the club established, and it's been an absolute joy since that we managed to work all together really well, and basically get the club running in a short few months. And it was quite emotional, actually, the first league game, to get to that point and people coming through the turnstiles, and to get for us Borough fans having a club to support. For me, it's a new club. It's got the same soul as before. The reason why we're all doing this is because of all Borough fans and want to support the team and support Nuneaton. And yeah, it's been a hell of a journey, and it's been great to see so many people get involved and supporting it, and getting involved and helping out and dedicating bits of time, because that's the only way we're going to succeed. To get back into the Nuneaton and to climb the leagues in a sustainable manner is everyone pulling together. Even if we've got differences, we need to think about that goal, and also cast the mind back to those months where the old club withdrew from the league, and those barren months with no football and no football team to support, and not get back to that point again, really, because it's a massive part of people's lives and social lives. I think it's a big change for Borough fans. It's a big change for people that have been involved in the supporters groups and things before, because we have an actual real say, a proper say that's written into the articles of the club. There are two fan elected kind of directors on the board in terms of Mark Lacroix and Jim. That means we have to get involved in decisions. We have to be involved in finance. We have to be involved in how the club's run and structured, which is a big change from before. I mean, in other ownerships and the club before, we've always been involved in some ways, but it's been for me a consumer thing. We consume, we pay our money, but we don't have an active say in how things are run. Whereas it's a complete flip now, and we all have to kind of buy into that. And I think people are seeing the work that volunteers are putting in, so that Justin, the lads, and everyone have got things to work. They've got the club there in the background. I'm rambling now, so I'll shush and I'll wait for you next question.
Always rambling, but it does seem to me that there's a sort of synthesis between what's happening off the field and what's happening on the field. It feels like there are good things happening on both sides, and the two. I don't think they're happening independently. I think they're sort of happening in unison. And I think the good vibes are breeding on the terraces, they're breeding on the pitch, and they're breeding in the boardroom. And that's got to be a good thing for the long term of the club, because there are going to be harder days. There are going to be games when things don't go away. There are going to be spells when it doesn't go away.
Absolutely.
But this early start, this honeymoon period, for want of a better word, that puts us in a good position for when things don't go so well, surely.
I would hope so, and I hope so, and we all need to think long term. Think that there are going to be spells we move out of the honeymoon period where things are difficult, and it's about having that group identity. And I've been really impressed with supporting a non-league club and that connection between players and fans is so important. So it's great to see like players in the bar when they can after the game, or coming over to fans at the end. That's really important. And you build that connection there, and you get new fans' favourites, don't you? And you build, and yeah, you get new fans' favourites of fans coming over and players coming over and kind of working together. And it's a big joint effort. Again, I'm rambling, so I'll shush.
It's all right. On that note, I'm just going to put this in the podcast so you don't forget, Mark. Are we getting this Buster Bridge North that I've been on about?
We're looking at trying to see what we can do to see if we can get a supporters coach to Bridge North. Still a few things to kind of iron out and a few things to work out, but we're looking into it for fans because I think it's the longest away trip, isn't it? So
it's the longest one. And there's also no train station in Bridge North unless you go on a steam train, and there's no steam train back. So I mean, it sounded a good idea. So I realised I'd be stuck in Bridge North, and there are better places to be stuck in.
I think we're definitely going to give it a try, and I think it's great that people have got suggestions and ideas to support out that they want to see implemented at the football club. There's a small band of volunteers dedicating their time, so if people are coming up with ideas, it's always good as well to think about, well, how can people support with that idea too? Because we're almost overloaded with ideas, and now we need people on the bodies on the ground to help get them to fruition, really. So if people do want to get involved, yeah.
The job of podcast host, that's taken. Forget it, kids. I do want to talk now about early season highlights. I'm going to ask you both. I'm going to put you both on the spot and ask you if you've got any early season highlights. Any one moment, but be it a game, a result, or just one little bit of a moment in a game where you've suddenly gone, oh yeah, that's something that I'm going to remember for this season. I can see you both looking quite thoughtful there. There's a bit of chin rubbing. Mark, you got something?
For me, it's probably going to be an away game because most of my home games, I don't get to see much of it, trying to help out with the turnstiles.
Yeah, I've not seen a lot of you this year, yeah.
So it's mainly, for me, it's seeing the amount of away fans going to games and enjoying themselves, getting to go to new grounds. I'm really enjoying seeing Borough players play with a smile on their face. I love seeing Neeks up front and how his approach to football is just a joy to watch, really. It reminds me, like, obviously, Justin, you kind of move a bit more defensive midfield. It's a similar vibe in terms of, and I think fans love to see that, and I think that's great. If Borough players are playing with a smile on the face, I think fans react to that too. Oh, hello.
I lost you there for a second, Mark. But I think you said if Borough fans like to see players playing with a smile on their face, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly. I think that reflects on the terraces too. So
yeah, it does.
So yeah.
Justin, what about you? What's been that early season highlight for yourself so far? I mean, you've not managed to bag anything yet, have you?
No, not on personally, no. But listen, to be fair, my days are done for being worried about personal achievements and stuff. But for me, I think it's more about the team, and I think I would say my highlights of the season so far is probably the first 4 or 5 games where brand new team and a lot of these lads, and I can tell you now, love playing for this football club already, just for the simple fact of the fan base is fantastic. The first home game was tremendous. The Ingles game being 2-0 down, I think it was, and the fans getting us back in that game. Harry Jackson grabs 2, Neeks has come on and set 2 up, and really just changed the momentum for us in that game. And without playing good, we weren't great that day, and we know that, but we managed to pull through. And going back to what Mark says there, the connection the fans are getting with some of these players now. You mentioned Neeks. There's Trevor there as well, who's a fan favourite, who's been brilliant.
I love Trev. He's absolutely. He was brilliant last night. I mean, I know their number 2 was getting some pretty bad abuse. I mean, it was all in good jest, but Trev Edwards had him in his pocket every time he went for the ball. Trev was about 2 steps ahead of him. It was something else. I think I get on quite well. He's one of the lads I've got on quite well with since I've not known. I didn't know Trev until I came to the club. You see, so and I speak to him quite a lot, and he is really enjoying his football. And I think he loves being here. But the connection with the fans as well is great as well. So I feel like Neeks is the same. You'll see a different Neeks than you see probably at the start. He's starting to come into it now a little bit more.
like, and Mark said his approach to football is quite relaxed, and he's good on the eye, when he gets going and stuff.
He's silky, isn't he? Yeah,
Very,
the
very.
old cliche. He's got great feet for a big lad, but bloody hell, he's true.
Yeah, he is. So, and even like speaking to Cody, I think goes a little bit under the radar sometimes. He's a proper midfield workhorse, you'd like to say, but his technical ability is really good, and he scored some great goals already this season. So,
well, the one at St Andrews, weren't it? It was an
exactly that. So, and I feel like even the one he got. Did he get one on Saturday as well? He did, didn't he? Cody, is it Saturday?
Did he get one on Saturday?
With quite a few goal scorers. So
yeah. Bakes, Whitehouse, Corey got the penalty. Spruce got one. Must be Oh no, and then May, weren't it? The young lad.
Oh yeah, right. He scored one the other day. Anyway, I can remember. He's got a couple, but he's really coming into it now, and he's one who really enjoys being around the club as well. And I think, you know what, for the lads that have been here before and done it, one of the main things we said to them is, listen, these guys will support you throughout the season, win, lose or draw. And I don't know if people notice it, but we're telling them, go and make sure you clap them off regardless of the performance of the, because they will stick with you through thick and thin. And that's, I think, where myself, Akko, Dales, who've been at the club before, know that it is something that's the fans really appreciate. And I think that's why, going back to what Mark says, the connection's been quite good so far. So long may that continue, I'd say. It's only going to help us both on and off.
Absolutely. I'm going to throw my personal highlight of the month in there, and it has to be Liam Daly's Rabona. There aren't many other centre halves who are going to get themselves on the corner of the penalty area and try that. I mean, the execution, the idea was great. The execution was a little bit woeful, but fair play, Dales. He had a go, didn't he? Who else is likely to try and do something like that? Completely ill-advised. Who else in that club has got that ideas above their station sort of mentality?
To be honest,
you can say yourself as well.
Maybe back in the day, probably not now. No. To be fair, Dales, he dropped the shoulder as well when he chopped him as well. So
he did.
I don't know. I think, listen, Dales is Dales. He's an experienced player. He's played at the levels. You know what I mean? So I think we were. I think what was it 2? Was it 1-2-1 in that game? Was it 2-0?
2-0. Another clean sheet, weren't it?
Yeah, 2-0 that game, and I think he knew there was towards the end of the game. He was just be a little cheeky, but I think he got well, I think we gave him worst player of the week or something because of that. He had to get the oranges. So
see, my lad was choosing man of the match that day, and he said, we were filming it, he went, I've got to give him man of the match after that. And he went up to him at the end of the game, gave him the champagne, and went, you're only getting that because of your Rabona.
Yeah.
I mean, Dales is 6'6", and my lad's like 4 foot, but yeah, he was still happy to say that to him. And again, being able to take my lad to all these games and getting him meeting the players and stuff, that's what it's all about, isn't it? You know, non-league football, generation after generation. I started off my first year as supporting the Borough, 1989, first game, Bridgenorth, 1-1. So it feels like it's gone full circle for me to be taking my lad to Bridgenorth in a couple of weeks' time. And I think we've seen a lot of old faces down the club, haven't we, Mark? A lot of people that perhaps we've seen drift away from the club. They've returned, haven't they? That's got to be something you've got to feel a lot of pride about.
Yeah, it's very encouraging, and not only old faces returning, new fans as well that are getting involved and really buying into what we're trying to do, and so that's key, because we haven't got someone at the top putting in the money, and it's all a collective effort. It's sponsors, it's fans coming through the turnstiles, it's people that in the town that maybe can't get to every game, but still follow what we're doing and want us back in the Nuneaton and playing. It has to be a collective effort for the whole town. So yeah, it's really good to see in these early stages, and hopefully it can continue, and we'll see what happens when it gets a bit colder and wetter. But yeah, hopefully, I'm sure the performances on the pitch and things will be able to keep our target for attendances and try and push through really. And there's lots of things happening, isn't there? We want success on the pitch, but we need to achieve that, we need to be successful off it. And key of that is trying to get back into the Nuneaton as soon as we can, but doing it properly as much as we can as well. So yeah, lots and lots of things.
Well, I've got a feel for him because apparently he busted his nose towards the back end of last season, didn't he? And he'd had it reset, and that's why it was a little bit delicate at the start of the season. But he's got his face mask on. Do you know how long he's got to wear that for now, Justin?
Yeah, listen, I think Sprucey's been a bit unlucky, you know, because his
Yes.
first game he was brilliant, and I think he scored a goal and he looked on fire, and that's just set him back a few weeks. And we've been it's been a little bit difficult because it then went again, and we were kind of like, right, we just need to get it right, let it set properly, let him get a bit of confidence as well, because he obviously plays in an attacking position, facing centre half that want to come and head the ball all the time. The both times he's gone up for header, that's what's happened. So, but obviously the last few games he's come back, he's looked back to his best again. He's looked sharp, he's looked fit, scored a couple of goals, he's been creating stuff. So we've just had to bide our time with it. So I think, listen, if he wears that mask for the next 3 or 4 weeks and continues playing how he's playing to build his confidence, let him do that. And then if he wants to work for the rest of the season so he don't break it again, it'll be much better.
And I am, I'm definitely gonna have to send him a little regulated sticker because sponsoring him, he can wear that. He can get a little bit of sponsorship going there. And Sprucey, all joking aside, it's great to see you back on the pitch. I'm really excited by the impact he's had at the start of the season, along with so many of the other players that we've brought into the team. Let's have a quick look ahead to the next few weeks. We've got a little bit of a lull in games. We've got a Saturday off. What are the plans for the club with the Lutworth game being moved?
Is that?
Yeah, sorry, Justin. Yeah, any plans? Is it just a Saturday off for everyone, or are you getting together for a training session? Or
yeah, so I think we're going to train. We're going to train tomorrow.
Yeah,
and I think we're going to try and get in the morning, depending on people's plans and stuff. So, because obviously we've got the game on Tuesday, so. What we don't want to do is I don't want to sit on our laurels and just be like, right, we'll have a few days off. As much as it's been really busy for us, we need to stay on top of it. It's no point in us going through these last 2 games, keeping 2 clean sheets, getting ourselves right back up there after the 4 or 5 games of drawing a few, to then let ourselves down on the Tuesday at Alixton Park, I think it is. So we're definitely going to stay on top of it. We're going to do a bit of fitness, get together, maybe have a cooler one Thursday, maybe do a little bit more on a Saturday. Just to keep us ready for the game, really.
Excellent. And one thing we have got coming up, the one cup distraction we've got this year, because obviously the club hasn't formed in time to enter the FA Cup or the FA Vars, but we have got the Midland League Cup game away at Chelmsley on Monday the 23rd. Mark, is a cup run something that, as a fan, you always enjoy?
I think everyone enjoys a cup run. I think for some cups, you enjoy it towards the end more than the start. So I'm thinking back to like the Birmingham Senior Cup. I used to find them a bit of a chore, but then when you get to the quarters and semis and final, they're fantastic, aren't they? So hopefully we can progress as much as possible. Another thing I'm looking forward to this month is Louis Baker, and hopefully he can continue his goal scoring feat from the first couple of months. I mean, he's leading goal scorer at the minute, isn't he? So looking forward to seeing that continue as we progress for the next bit of the season.
And Justin, anything you're looking forward to in particular, or is it just a case of more of the same, please?
Yeah, I agree, Mark. I think, obviously, going back to my time before, we did quite well in the Birmingham Senior Cup, didn't we? I think we won it once. Did we lose the other time as well?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
And I think you're right. The early stages of the competition, it is a bit of a chore sometimes when you're having to play on a Tuesday and you've obviously had a busy start. But I think if we can, for me, winning's a habit, and if you've got a cup game and some of the lads that haven't been playing get a good run out, it's also good for them. But they've also got a point to prove because they want to try and get back in the starting 11 if they're not in it at that moment. So keeps everyone on their toes. It keeps that winning feeling going as long as you're winning and stuff. And it's like I say, it's always good to win a cup, isn't it? At the end of the season, if you can. So
absolutely. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me for this first episode of To The Manor Reborn again. It's been really great to talk to you both. It's been a fantastic opening month to the season and lovely to get your insight on both sides of the club at the moment. So, Mark, thank you so much. And Justin, thank you so much. I've been Ben Bruce, and this has been To The Manor Reborn again. And we'll be back next month to talk more about the borough.